All right. It's working. That's good. Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Lal, and we are going to begin with our for first appearance for misdemeanor cases. These are cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon thereafter, the prosecutor has formally accused the cases. So when we address each case on a one-on-one basis, the defendant should remember their right to remain silent. You do have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during this virtual proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. This is a virtual proceeding, but it is recorded and live streamed. So if you have any questions, please remember to direct that to your attorney only. When I call your case, I will let you know what is your new case number, to what are the charges included in that accusation, who is going to be your attorney, and to set a bond. Some of you may qualify for what we call a signature bond, in which you would not have to pay for the bond today, but you will have to strictly comply with the conditions. Otherwise, you risk the bond being revoked or surrendered. Others may qualify for a surety bond or a cash bond, in which case you would have to pay for the bond out of your own pocket or through a bonding company. Our next reset date for some of the cases is going to be, I'm not sure who's my litigation manager. Is it Miss Strong?
It's Ms. Young, Your Honor, and it's 5:22.
522? Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
For some of the cases, they will be reset to May 22nd in the event that the individual is unable to make bond. And if anyone plans to attend that proceeding, please make sure that you obtain a Zoom link from the clerk's office. Now, this is a Zoom proceeding, but technically everyone should pretend like they're in an actual courtroom. So when you're in an actual courtroom, you're not supposed to be walking around. Keep the iPhone, all right? If you are a family member, a alleged victim, someone here in support of a defendant, please make sure your video is off and that your audio is on mute. And when you see the defendant that you're interested in addressing, then you can go ahead and start your video and audio. Okay. If we have to switch off your video or audio, then you would have to chat the court administrator or the host of the Zoom proceeding in order to enable your video audio. So please remember to comply with these rules. Okay, courtroom 2. Who do we have, please?
Position 2, Ms. Moore.
Mystique Yvonne Moore is accused of reckless conduct, case number 25 CR 002-422Y. Ms. Moore, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Alex Jate. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second, 2009 domestic violence.
What was the disposition?
I don't think it had one.
All right. And Mr. Scirocco, good afternoon. What's the recommendation?
Good afternoon, Judge. The recommendation for this case is a $5,000 signature bond through pre-trial services. I briefly want to go through the facts here. This was from yesterday, May 8th, 2025. Law enforcement responded to 2950 Springsdale Road, the apartment complex there, in reference to an abandoned child call, with the description that there was a 3 to 4-year-old roaming around an apartment complex unattended. The officer was flagged down by a man who was cutting the lawn of the complex, who directed the officer to where that baby was. And that landscaper on scene was able to tell the officer that that baby had been outside alone for approximately 3 hours. The officer took the child, and ultimately the apartment of the child's mother, the defendant in this case, was found. The door was wide open prior to making contact. And upon making said contact, her demeanor was very nonchalant in response to the officer informing her about the child, and her acknowledging that is her child, that she was unaware that her child had been missing, despite that 3-hour gap as referenced. Excuse me, as part of our recommendation, I should note this, the father of the child did show up on scene from work, and was apprised of the situation. So there is another parental figure here. We are asking again for a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services for her to follow any defects orders as it relates to the child, and any orders out of Superior Court as it relates to custody. We would be asking for no further contact until further order of the court. This should be revisited at a later date, given the danger this sort of lack thereof parental supervision poses to the child. We would be asking as well for a social worker visit to determine if BHET or ADET is necessary, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And if the Mr. Maurice Griffin Sr. is on the line, we would ask the court sound for him as well.
Okay, Mr. Chatay, looks like quite a few requirements in addition to a signature bond. Any comment?
Thank you, Your Honor. No objection to the signature bond. I would object to the no further contact request by the state, given that one, it's only her second cycle and we don't know the disposition for the first one. And second, I'm not sure how having a no further contact order would ameliorate the lack of parental supervision. And there's also another parent figure involved. So for those reasons, I would object to no further contact given my client's history.
Okay. Bond is set at $2,000. It's a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. She'll need to report to pretrial once a month. Contact with the child shall be in accordance with any defect supervision requirements. She may return to the property. She may return to having contact with the child as long as it's in accordance with defects requirements. The prosecution is required to contact defects to make sure that they have an open case with this matter and that they continue to monitor the situation, especially with regards to the care of the child or any other children in this household, with respect to Mystique Moore and the biological father in this case. If there are any further infractions, violations of the bond order, or if Ms. Moore gets arrested again, this signature bond will be revoked and she will have to pay for a bond the next time. Next
Your
court,
Honor, I'm sorry, go ahead.
next court date will be sent to her current address. Yes,
We did confirm with our liaison that there is an active open case with defects. We did try to reach out to the biological father and we're not successful. We'll continue to monitor. Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you. Next case, please.
Position 1,
Alfonso F. is accused of battery family violence. Actually, he's accused of 2 counts of battery family violence, cruelty in the 3rd degree, and simple battery family violence from February 24th, 2025. This is a total of 4 misdemeanor charges. His case number is 25 CR 2430Y. Mr. Epps, you've been advised of your rights. Your attorney is going to be Mr. Chatay. And any priors, Mr. Howard?
13. On probation for ag assault, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. It's 24 SC 003 809. 2021 battery that was dismissed. 2015 FTA probation, and he got a probation hold.
From that 24 SC case?
Probably so.
All right. Mr. Nixon, good afternoon. Yes, sir. And what's your recommendation?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The state is asking for $2,000 surety bond for each battery family violence and $2,000 surety bond for the cruelty to children and a $1,500 surety bond for the simple battery family violence. If I may briefly go over the facts, Officer Worth was dispatched to the location at 1991 Delo Drive, Southwest, Apartment E3, about a physical dispute that occurred. The officer spoke with the victim about the defendant, about the defendant and about the incident. And she stated that she had a verbal altercation with her living boyfriend, the defendant, Alfonso Epps, about him throwing her minor child, and the minor child's initials are N as in Nancy, B as in boy, clothing down the stairs inside the home and damaging her room. The victim further stated that she went to confront Mr. Epps in the upper bedroom about his actions, and when she approached Mr. Epps, he got closer to her face and pushed her to create distance, and then began physically attacking her with a closed fist with the minor child in the room to witness the physical altercation. The defendant also grabbed her by the hair, and the victim had abrasions and scratches to her forehead and chin area. It's important to note here that the accused, the minor child, and the victim all live together. The state is also asking for no further contact with the victim, Jasmine Chacon. That last name is spelled C as in cats, H-A-C as in cat, O-N, or the minor child, whose initials again are N-B. Stay away from 1991 Delo Drive, Southwest Apartment E3, Atlanta, Georgia, and no further alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Okay. And Mr. Chate?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is a lifelong resident of the Atlanta area. He has strong ties to the community here. He's 30 years old. Currently, he's in college. He's studying HVAC and to be an electrician, and he's been doing that program for a year now. And at the same time, he's working for the company that is putting him through school, and he's been working for that company for the past 8 months. For those reasons, Your Honor, I would ask for the lowest surety amount possible. And I would also object to the state's request to stay away from the location. My understanding is that 1991 Delo Drive is an apartment complex, and that according to my client, Mr. Cohn lives in a different apartment from the one in which he lives in. He's in apartment M4 and she's in apartment E3. So I would object to the stay away.
He lives right next door to her?
I'm not sure if it's next door, but they live in different apartment rooms, different apartments.
Okay. Is there Ms. Chacon on the Zoom at the present time? If she wants to unmute or start a video, that might help with some information. And Mr. Chate, does she share the child with the defendant?
I don't know, Your Honor. I didn't discuss that with my client.
Okay. I noticed that Mr. Epps is on a 10-year probation pursuant to Judge Farmer's sentence from last year, and that any probation violations have to be referred back to that division judge in order to address his case. So currently he has a probation hold from the felony case. In this particular matter, on count 1, battery family violence, that's going to be $2,500. Count 2, cruelty in the 3rd degree, that's going to be $1,000. Second count of battery family violence, that's $1,000, and the simple battery is going to be $500. His total bond is going to be $345, that's $5,000 surety. No further contact with Ms. Chacon. He'll be required to stay away from the entire complex at 1991 Delo Drive, including his own apartment, because it's too close in proximity to the victim's unit. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And his next court date will be May 22nd. Courtroom 2, if you please unmute.
She does not live in that address.
She does not live at apartment E3?
She does not live there. She moved out. She got evicted 2 months ago. She got evicted in March.
All right. In that case, you are allowed to return to the apartment complex and your apartment one time only with a police officer. And the police officer will have to verify with the leasing office that this individual, Ms. Chacon, and the child NB have vacated that apartment complex. If it is confirmed that Ms. Chacon has vacated the apartment complex, then you may return to your apartment. I think it's M4, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you can return to your property. But otherwise, wherever she happens to be and wherever the child NB happens to be, you are to stay 200 yards away from both of them. You're not to communicate with them in any way, form, or manner. If you intend to engage in any kind of joint custody or joint visitation with the child, you must file a legitimation action in order to secure any contact with the child. Understood?
Yes.
Thank you. Next court date is May 22nd.
Hold on.
Next case, please.
Number 5, Mr. Shelby.
This is State versus Jacques Shelby, accused of battery family violence from June 2nd of 2024. Mr. Shelby, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. Mr. Howard, any priors?
14, 2025 probation, 2025 FTA, 2025 battery DB, theft by conversion. That's Clayton County. 2019 FTA, 2017 disorderly conduct conviction.
What was the disorderly conduct conviction? What year?
17.
2017. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Scirocco?
Yes, Judge, this took place June 2nd, 2024. Law enforcement responded to 515 Fulton Street, Southwest, apartment 2418 in Atlanta, in reference to a woman calling, explaining that she had been punched by her boyfriend. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with the victim, in this case, Miss Chantrice Taylor, who explained that her boyfriend had punched her in the face for waking him up for work. Her eye appeared swollen. She explained that they don't live together, but they do have a 3-year-old child together. This was not the first time, as she stated at the time of the officers responding, of this sort of incident having occurred. And the defendant was not on scene when officers arrived. So hence the delayed arrest here. He was positively identified as the defendant via a photographic lineup, and a warrant was issued for his arrest at this time. He does, let's see. Well, I'll say this. We've spoken with the victim in this case. She explained that they are not currently in a relationship. They don't live together, and that they do share that child. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that the defendant has been violent with her in the past, and that she had filed for a TPO against the defendant in September, but did not ultimately return to court to get that full 12-month TPO. Significantly, she explained that she was involved in the prior case with the defendant, and that is the open battery family violence and theft by conversion case out of Clayton County. She's the same victim in that. Regardless, she stated she's not in fear of the defendant, and that the defendant only gets violent when he drinks or is high on drugs. She wants no violent contact with the defendant, and we would ask the court sound for her when appropriate. The state's not okay with no further violent contact. We were asking for no further contact. And with respect to the wreck as a whole, I mean, he presents an incredibly high risk of reoffense here, given the 2 open cases, this now being one of them. We have safety concerns for her, and given the FTA as well, 2025, there's a risk he's not going to show up to the next court hearing. As such, state's asking for a $6,000 surety bond for him to complete FFIB, ADET, no further contact with Chantrice Taylor, stay away from the apartment complex located at 515 Fulton Street, Southwest Atlanta, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And yes, if we could sound for Miss Taylor, I did hear her on the line.
Here.
Good. Would you like to contribute to the proceeding?
Yes. So I don't have a problem with having contact with Mr. Shelby. He is my son's father.
Okay. Please stop.
Uh-huh.
Please stop.
Mhm.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Are you the alleged victim in another open domestic violence case in Clayton County?
Yes, I am.
And what's the date of that incident?
I know it was in March of this year. I'm not sure the specific date.
I don't need the exact date. So in March of 2025, there was allegedly another criminal altercation between you and Mr. Shelby, and he was arrested, and there's an open domestic violence case in Clayton County, Georgia. Would that be correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this incident happened last June.
Yes.
Okay. So between June and March, within a span of about 9 months, you've got another criminal case where you're the alleged victim.
Yes.
Okay. Now there are allegations that he apparently gets angry when he is either drunk or high or both.
Correct.
Right. And you are 5 years older than him.
Correct.
Now explain to me why you think he's not a danger to you and to your child. As
I
an
personally,
intelligent, mature woman, explain that to me.
I personally don't feel like he is a threat to me, Your Honor. I just don't want to fight him.
Understood. Thank you. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Shelby's 24, Georgian, originally from elsewhere, but he's a Georgian now. He's local. Your Honor, he's worked in warehouses and restaurants, several, industrious person. 11th grade in high school, so he'll finish that up at some point as necessary. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond to secure his return. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond, but that's not, if that is not in the offing, then we would ask the court to consider a $100 to $1,500 bond.
Yes, Mr. Shelby is rather young and also prone to alleged violence, according to his criminal history record and just according to the 2 open cases he now has. His bond is going to be set at $2,500. It's going to be a cash bond only. He doesn't qualify for a signature bond due to his failure to appear, and he doesn't qualify for a surety bond because I am greatly concerned that he has a propensity to violence and also a propensity perhaps to some kind of addiction issues. His next court date will be May 22nd. In the meantime, he's to have no further contact with Chantrice Taylor and no further contact with the child or children that he shares with Ms. Taylor. In order to establish any kind of visitation or joint custody, Mr. Shelby will have to file a legitimation action and get a court order to allow him to have visitation or custody with any child or children that he shares with Ms. Shelby. Mr. Shelby, I'm greatly concerned that these are 2 open cases involving violence with the same victim. So I hope you take this to heart and comply with the conditions. Thank you. Taylor, you're free to go.
Number 8, Damian Smith. Hold on, that's number 8.
Number 8, okay. This is Damian Smith, accused of 2 counts of theft by taking from May 2nd of this year, case number 25 CR 24218. Mr. Smith has been advised of his right to remain silent. His attorney is Mr. McLean. Mr. Howard, any priors?
4th, now you got open ag, stalking, kidnapping, obstruction, trespass. It's 25 SC 000392. On probation out of card for ag stalking, criminal damage to property 2nd degree, and wanted out of card.
Thank you. That's good. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from May the 2nd of this year. Police were called to residence at 823 Ponce de Leon Place at about 8:45 p.m. The defendant in front of you, and I believe his mother, lives at that location. An adult woman and her 18-year-old child were moving out. The mother, Amanda Trollson, was moving out. She'd called her friend, the victim in this case, Colin Parker, to come help her move some things. Colin Parker, who's joined us on Zoom, came to that location on his bicycle, an expensive bicycle, and his book bag with his personal items inside. He put those things down outside of the location and started to assist in the move out process. And then the defendant engaged in a altercation with Mrs. Trolson as she was moving out. During that altercation, this defendant picked up the items that belong to the victim, Mr. Parker, and took them inside the location. After breaking the door at the location and behaving erratically, he locked the door and refused to come outside. Officers made contact with the individuals on scene and determined there was no action that they were willing to take at that point other than to file a report. They did follow up and try to make contact with this defendant to talk to him about getting the victim's items back. It's noted that he admitted taking those items. He agreed to meet with police in May on the 7th, I believe, and then didn't show up. Officers then contacted him again on the 8th, and he displayed some bizarre behavior over the phone and hung up on police. You did just hear about an open active kidnapping case and an aggravated stalking case, as well as a probationary case that he's convicted for in aggravated stalking case out of Cobb County. We did speak to the victim today. Again, Mr. Parker was someone there helping a friend move. He says he doesn't know the defendant that well, has only seen him a few times, that he was just helping his friend. But his items were taken. He's tried to ask for his items to be returned to him. Police did the same thing on the scene, and then afterwards, he still has not received his items. He would like no contact. Your Honor, we're asking for a $2,000 surety to stay away from the victim, in this case, Colin Parker, to have no contact with him wherever he lives or works, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we'd ask for a social worker visit. Thank you. If you'd call for Mr. Parker.
Colin Parker, if you're on Zoom, you can unmute and start your video.
Let's see, it says something about my video can't be started because it's disabled by the host, but can you hear me?
Yes, please hold and we will prompt you to start your video. Thank you. All right, Mr. Parker, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Thank you. You've known the defendant for some time?
Not closely, no.
Well, but you've known of him for some time.
I've seen him at church.
At church, okay. And have you retrieved any of your belongings back?
No.
Okay. What else would you like to tell us?
Just no, I think that the account that Miss Allen gave was accurate. That's exactly what happened. I was helping my friend to move. I asked her if I could set my bicycle in her yard temporarily while I moved some boxes, which I did, along with my backpack.
We can agree to that. Now, I just have one more final question. During the course of any of this incident, has the defendant ever claimed that he owns the items in question?
Never.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Parker. Appreciate it. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, the name Tullerson strikes a bell from about a few days ago. Did we represent her, or did she have a case, or maybe I'm thinking of something else entirely?
Amanda Troll. It doesn't ring a bell with me, but I've had the C calendar for the last couple of days.
It was about a week ago.
Oh, then I would not be with me then. I honestly, pre-call.
I'm sorry. Yeah, she may have been represented by Maureen if she had a case, so that wouldn't be a conflict for me.
What's the name?
Amanda Tollerson, or I'm not sure how to spell it.
On the warrant.
We actually had that case come through and it was dismissed.
Oh, okay. That's why I remembered the name. So there's no conflict. I can go ahead.
Okay. And Mr. McLean, yes, sir. On Damian Smith?
He's 44, Your Honor, and Georgian. He's educated with a Bachelor of Arts in Religious Studies or Lee University out of Cleveland, Tennessee. I had heard of that program. He's been an electrician, but for the last several years, he's been taking care of his sick mother. Nothing further to report. We would ask to consider a signature bond if possible, but if not, 1,000. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Fortunately, he doesn't qualify for a signature bond due to his Cobb County hold. But on the theft by taking, count 1 is going to be 1,500. Count 2 is going to be 1,000. His total bond is going to be 2,500. It is a surety bond. No further contact with Colin Parker, Colin with 2 L's, and no further contact with Amanda Tolson to stay away from the 823 Ponce de Leon Place. Well, he lives there, right?
I believe he does.
Does Mr. Parker live there? All right. Anything else to add, Mr. Parker? Please unmute.
Yeah, just my name is spelled with 1 L, that's all.
Oh, okay. On the warrant, I saw 2. All right. So it's Colin, common spelling. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Parker. Yeah, we're going to dispense with the stay away. He can return to his place as long as Colin Parker does not live there. But in the meantime, once he's resolved with his Cobb County hold and is released, he's required to stay 200 yards away from Colin Parker, have no communication whatsoever with Mr. Parker, and has to comply with the conditions of his other conditions of his bond. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no firearms. Thank you.
Next is position 10, Williamson.
Eric Williamson is case number 25 CR 2428B, accused of 1 count of battery family violence, 1 count of simple battery family violence, and a 3rd charge of battery against a female who's pregnant. Alleged incident date appears to be August 21st, 2023. Mr. Williamson, you've been accused of these 3 charges. You've been advised of your rights, and your attorney is Mr. McQueen. Any priors, please?
5. Got an open battery DV. Trespass. Cruising in the 3rd. Simple battery. Out of DeKalb County. That's from this year. 2018 simple battery disorderly conduct. Trespass dismissed.
All right, Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. We did just receive the bond document on that open battery out of DeKalb. That was an arrest on May the 2nd. It is against the same victim, Torika Banks, Torica Banks. His bond order out of DeKalb County requires that he have no contact with her, as well as a child, Genesis Williamson, do not return to their address, Farrington Road, 5959 in Stonecrest, Georgia. The case in front of you is an incident from August of 2023. So there's been an outstanding warrant since September the 14th of 2023 in this case. Police were called at about 5 a.m. to where this couple was living at the time, Mason Turner Road. The victim, Mrs. Banks, reported that during an argument, she was 6 months pregnant at the time, that during an argument, the defendant threw her to the ground. He grabbed her by her neck and threw her to the ground. She fled to her car, at which point he started to strike her as she was getting into her car repeatedly. She had visible bruising on her legs that police saw. She identified the defendant for officers and a warrant was issued.
That never happened.
We did speak with the victim today. She, like the Harrison Ford movie, The Fugitive, says some unknown man assaulted her in August of 2023. However, the most recent arrest out of DeKalb, as well as their jail calls, confirm that that's not the case, Your Honor. We're asking for a $6,000 surety, no contact with Mrs. Banks, stay away from wherever she's currently living. I'm guessing it's 5959 Farrington Road, Stonecrest, Georgia, which is where DeKalb County has said this defendant may not return. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we would ask for the defendant to be ordered to enroll in DVIP. Thank you.
If the host could please prompt Ms. Banks to unmute and start her video. All right, Ms. Banks, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes,
Are you currently the alleged victim in an open case in DeKalb County, Georgia,
yes,
involving the same defendant?
yes.
And since 2023, have you been continuously residing with Mr. Williamson?
Yes.
All right. What else would you like to tell me?
There has not been any incidents. Like, the police officers did not speak with me. They spoke with family of a friend of our family. So I never gave a statement. I was in the hospital.
What else would you like to tell me?
That he didn't do what was allegedly done you said in August of 2023. That's why it's an outstanding warrant. No, that never, we had no knowledge of his name even being given, no nothing. Until he got to Fulton County, and then I called and she said yes. When you was in the hospital, they asked me what happened, and I thought it was Eric because I mean she knows that we fought before, like you know we go back and forth and stuff, but she didn't know that it wasn't him this time. It really, I know how the lady just said it, but it really was a person in our apartment complex, three doors down. The security guard
I'm
in the
sorry.
apartment complex can confirm that.
Please stop. Who do you think called the police and reported the incident?
The security guard did. And he also can confirm that it was some people that was visiting the person 3 doors down.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right. Thank you. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Williamson has a Covington mail address, so there's that, and he has a BS Fire and Emergency Medical Services type of degree from East Georgia State College, which is happens to be in the same town as Georgia Southern, which is Statesboro. Well, I'm sorry, he did not finish the degree yet. He's within a year of finishing that. He's got 3/4 done. Your Honor, he's worked as a operator of mechanical equipment. He's worked as an order selector. He's worked as a manager of a restaurant. He's worked as a manager of another type of store, retail. And like I said, he's 26. Considering the allegations and the testimony we just heard, and the fact that it's 2023 and there are other matters for the judge to consider over what the state has said about the open case, I understand that. But given everything, we would ask the court to consider the lowest bond possible, perhaps $1,000, $1,500 surety. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Williamson, no matter what I say, you understand that's already a bond order issued in DeKalb County requiring you to have no further contact with Tarika Banks and the child or children that you share with her, and to stay away from the Farrington Road in Stonecrest, Georgia. Now, I know this incident was about less than 2 years ago, but nevertheless, your subsequent case involving the same alleged victim, gives huge rise to concerns about you and Miss Banks. According to Miss Banks' statements, you do have altercations now and then, and that's not an acceptable pattern of conduct. With regards to this case on the battery, family violence, count 1 is going to be a $1,500 surety. Count 2 is going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Count 3 is going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Your total bond is going to be a $5,500 split bond. Once you make bond in Fulton County, you'll then be required to report to Fulton County pretrial services once a week. And so this will be a signature bond through pretrial services level 3. Just as DeKalb County has indicated, you are to have no further contact with Tarika Banks, which includes the jail calls between you and Miss Banks, whether it's in Fulton County or DeKalb County or in any other jurisdiction. Jail calls are still considered a violation of the no contact provision. And if there is any future calls, please understand that the state can ask for your bond to be revoked. You have to stay 200 yards away from Ms. Tarika Banks and the child identified as GW. If you wish to have contact with the child, you can file a legitimation action and obtain a court order for joint visitation or custody. You have to stay away from the Farrington Road location, 5959 in Stonecrest, Georgia, just as DeKalb County has ordered. If you return to that location, your bond can also be revoked. You are to update the court of your new mailing and residential address within 30 days of being released on bond from Fulton County. Within 30 days of being released, you're also to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. Has DeKalb County ordered you to do so? I want to make sure you don't have a duplicate.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, if there's no such requirement, then this court is requiring you to enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 30 days of being released from Fulton County. This is a 26-week program on family violence counseling, and you are to attend each and every class without missing or skipping those classes and at your expense. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms, and you'll be subject to random screens for illegal drugs and alcohol. Your next court date is going to be May 22nd. If you do make bond, then you will not need to show up on May 22nd, but you'll need to maintain a good current address in order to get your next court date. Thank you.
Your Honor, I think the clerk has that Covington address. It's on the 3 card.
It's
And Your Honor, I just want to clarify, what level is that for the pretrial?
level 3.
Level 3?
Yeah.
And the address I had to stay away from was 870 Mason Turner. Is that not the correct address?
No, that looks like it's the address from 2023. The current address that was put on his bond order on May the 3rd in DeKalb County for an assault on May the 2nd on the same victim is that address, that 5959 Farrington Road in Stonecrest, Georgia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Whatever the address is for Miss Banks, she's not required to disclose it, but Mr. Williamson is now on notice that he needs to stay 200 yards away from Torika Banks and the child GW, and he's had to have no contact with her in any way, form, or manner. Thank you.
Position number 11, Wilson.
Miss Banks, you're free to go. This is Detrell Lamar Wilson, accused of driving without a valid license, theft by taking, having an expired or no license plate or decal, defective or no headlights, and failure to have a proper brake light or a turn signal. This driving incident occurred on May 8th, 2025. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 misdemeanor charges. And his case number is 25 CR 2427Y. Mr. Wilson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. McLean. And I understand this is his first arrest. Ms. Allen, any recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant is unlicensed. That's verified through his driver's history. On this incident date, which was the 8th, police initiated a traffic stop because the vehicle he was driving had a brake light out. It also had a headlight that was defective. When officers made contact with the defendant, who was driving the vehicle and had no one else with him, he admitted that he'd recently been cited for the same issue. His tag on his license plate was invalid. That's not a registered vehicle. And he acknowledged the brake light. He was asked for his driver's license and he said he didn't have it on him. He provided his name and date of birth. Officers ran that information and saw that he was in fact unlicensed. He was told he was being placed under arrest. At that time, he started his car and tried to leave the location, but was prevented from doing so by officers. He was put into custody. A search of the vehicle that, again, he was the only occupant of, revealed a stolen firearm in the center console. We did speak with the DA's office today because, as Your Honor is fully aware, possession of a stolen firearm is a felony. They have declined to take this case, and so it is charged here in state court in the manner it is as theft by taking, because possession of a firearm is included within that statute. The vehicle is registered to his mother. He told officers that the gun in the center console was his daddy's, and it was validated and verified to have been stolen from the DeKalb County Police. The bond that the state is asking for today, based on the facts that were just explained to you, is $10,000 surety, no driving, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Wilson lives on McKenzie Road. He's looks like he's 19 years old, I think. He's got an 11th grade education. He's worked in a bottling company as a machine operator and 4 different restaurants in the last 7 years. Well, really 5. So I think he started earlier in those fast food places. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond because there are no prior arrests. And that's everything. Thank you.
All right. On count 1, driving without a valid license, that's going to be $500, a surety. On count 2, theft by taking, that's going to be a $2,000 surety. Count 3, expired decal is a $500 signature bond through pretrial. Count 4, defective or no headlights is a $500 signature bond through pretrial. And the brake light turn signal is a $500 signature bond through pretrial. So this should be a $4,000 split bond. He will be, he'll need to pay about half of that bond through a bonding company. And then the other portion, once he's posted bond, he will report to pretrial services once a month. This is level 1. No driving unless he has a valid driver's license, adequate insurance, and correct registration for the vehicle that he's occupying. Mr. Wilson will also show proof that if he wants to continue driving in the future, he needs to have applied for a provisional driver's license, take driving classes, pass the driving test, or just go through all the steps to acquire a valid driver's license. And if he does do these steps, he needs to show proof to the pretrial officer. But until then, no driving at all. His next court date is going to be May 22nd.
Your Honor, would you please add no drugs, alcohol, or weapons?
Oh yeah, that's my standard provision on my bond orders. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 12, Zachary.
Daniel Zachary, middle name Jared, is accused of 3 offenses from March 28th of this year under Accusation 25 CR 2429J. Charges are cruelty in the 3rd degree, battery, and simple battery. Mr. Zachary, you've been advised of your rights, and your attorney in this particular matter is going to be Mr. McLean. This is his first arrest. Ms. Allen, anything to add?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident that occurred March the 28th of 2025. Warrants were issued in April. We are asking for a $9,000 SOB through pretrial, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, no contact with the victim or her mother who was a witness. Jasmine Scipio, SIPPIO. Her mother, Sheila Howe, HOWE. Stay away from wherever she is currently living. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. I think I already said that. Your Honor, this is an incident that, although it is not indicated as a family violence incident because the information doesn't say that these individuals have ever lived together, it's just unclear based on what we have. We left messages, tried to reach out to the victim and her mother today, but we're not successful as of yet. This case was reported. Mom was a witness. The defendant was seen not only making threats, but then repeatedly punching this young woman in the head. She was then diagnosed with a closed head injury, a concussion. Her mom noticed cognitive changes right after this incident happened that she observed when the defendant struck her daughter, pulled her daughter by the hair and threw her to the ground. This was also done in front of the victim, Mrs. Jasmine Scipio, in front of her very young child born in 2024, initials PS. and she is the subject of the cruelty in the third degree. Follow-up interviews were done with the family, and they gave consistent statements and provided this medical documentation. The victim reported she was punched repeatedly in her face and head and jaw. The defendant had fled by the time police came, and this was reported. There's a concern here just for the degree of violence. We did request that this case be evaluated as a aggravated assault or an aggravated battery. It would qualify for either based on the statute. We have not heard back. And that's why we're asking for the bond we're asking for, Your Honor. I understand he does not have any prior arrests. That's why there's an SOB. We'd ask for it to be through pretrial level 3. There's a concern here about this explosive behavior. We'd ask for a social worker visit or FVIP if you think that that's appropriate. Thank you. If you'd call for Mrs. Scipio in case she was able to join us.
Right, Jasmine Scipio or Sheila Howell, if you're on Zoom and want to contribute, this will be the time to unmute and start your video. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Zachary is 26, a Georgian. He lives on Landrum. He's a high school graduate from a local high school, and he does plumbing and has done for at least 5 years. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond in this situation. I understand what the state is saying, and of course there are no prior arrests, so we would ask the court to consider a signature bond, but if not that, then a surety bond in the lower range. Thank you.
Thank you. On count 1, it's going to be 1,000. On count 2, it's going to be 2,000. Count 3, simple battery is 1,000. This is a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services, level 2. No further contact with Jasmine Scipio and any of her minor children, if she has any. No contact with Sheila Howell, to stay away from 259 Love Street, the entire apartment complex there, including A4, Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Mr. Zachary, in addition to these no contacts, you're required to report to pretrial twice a month. And within 30 days of being released, you will enroll in a domestic violence program at your expense and complete all classes without missing or skipping any of them. Courtroom 2, please unmute. Mr. Zachary, you now qualify for a signature bond through pretrial level 2. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. What would you like to say, sir?
Oh, but Mr. Zachary, I would recommend, since you have a signature bond, any question you have might be procedural as to how bonds work. We're not doing a trial today. This is bond setting. We're finished, Mr. Zachary. Thank you.
Number 1, the add-on calendar, Mr. Irwin.
Oh, the add-on, yes. I'm sorry, I didn't print the calendar, but let me pull that up.
What add-on?
Those 3 words are always going to be popular at a C calendar. Okay. Okay. Mr. Chate or Mr. McLean, we have a add-on calendar involving Devontae Irvin, Christopher Hodge, and Jabardis Tukes. Have either one of you interviewed any of these individuals?
I have interviewed
I interviewed Mr. Irwin and Mr. Hodge.
Okay. And we have a Jabardis Tukes as well.
I've interviewed him.
Okay.
We're covered. We got it.
All right. In that case, then let's begin with this was Devontae Irvin. Is that correct, Deputy?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Devontae Irvin has got a misdemeanor case accused under 25 CR 2431H. Mr. Irvin has got 5 misdemeanor charges brought against him, and they are as follows. 2 counts of battery, family violence, 1 count of criminal trespass, and 2 counts of simple battery, family violence stemming from a May 8th, 2025 incident. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, Mr. Irvin, and your attorney is Mr. Chate.
14, 2020.
Go ahead, 14 cycles?
2021 out of North Carolina, larceny and 4 counts of breaking and entering motor vehicle conviction. 2019 obtained property, false pretense, and resisting public officer conviction. 2017 larceny conviction, another 2017 larceny conviction. 2017 breaking and entering conviction, 2016 larceny conviction.
All right, so a lot of theft-related matters. Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. The state has a sincere concern for the safety of the victim. The state's asking for $2,000 surety bond for each battery family violence count, $500 for the surety, $500 surety bond for the criminal trespass, $1,500 for each simple battery family violence. That would be a surety bond. The facts of this case are as follows. On May 8th, 2025, officers were dispatched to 820 West Marietta Street as apartment 1259 to a fight in progress. And when they arrived on the scene, they spoke with the defendant in the entranceway, who requested for the officers to escort him to his apartment because his girlfriend, who was later identified as Miss, and I'll spell the name, Jaziana Alacron. The first name is Jasy. That's an apostrophe ANNA. Last name Alacron, ALACRON, who's the victim in this case. And stated that she was not opening the door to allow him to get his work clothes. The defendant stated that they were involved in a verbal altercation the night before on May 7th, 2025, when law enforcement had to be called to the location. Now, when the victim opened the door, officers observed multiple injuries to her face, her neck, nose, upper lip, and bruising to the left upper arm. And the victim told officers that they do reside together and were dating since January of this year. When the defendant and the victim returned home after eating dinner, things got physical. The defendant snatched her phone, began to push her multiple times, grabbed her by the neck, placed both hands on her temple while squeezing her face and shouting, "Pass out," while he covered her face with a pillow. Now, as mentioned, the defendant does have history out of North Carolina, latest being in 2021, and the accused and the victim does live together. The state is asking for no further contact with the victim, in this case, to stay away from 820 West Marietta Street, apartment 1259, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And the state would also ask if you could call for Ms. Alacron when appropriate.
Mr. Chate? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, Mr. Chate. Correct.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. I'd ask the court to consider a surety bond that has a total value between $1,000 and $2,000. My client is 25 years old. He's lived in Atlanta since November. He moved here. He's a high school graduate, and currently he works as a server at 2 different restaurants. One is a breakfast bar, the other is a night grill. And he started training for those just a few weeks ago, but prior to that, he had a different job. So given that, he's established residence here and that he has stable employment, I'd ask the court to consider my recommendation.
Okay. On the first count of battery family violence, that's going to be a $2,000 cash bond only. Count 2, 3, 4, and 5 are each going to be $1,000, and that's going to be a total of $6,000 split bond. Counts 2, 3, 4, and 5 are each going to be $1,000 each, and there's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Level 3, with a domestic violence intervention requirement that he enroll in those classes within 30 days of being released, not consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not own or possess any firearms. He will report to pretrial, he'll also be subject to random screens for alcohol and illegal drugs. He's to have no further contact with JZN Alacron, no further contact with any child or children that he shares with Ms. Alacron. He's to stay away from the entire apartment complex at 820 West Marietta Street in Northwest Atlanta. If he lives at that location, he'll be allowed a one-time visit to vacate the premises and make sure that he lives at least 200 yards away from Ms. Alacron. He will need to update the court with his new address within 30 days of being released. Mr. Irvin, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. If you choose to waive your right to remain silent, that would, I think, be against the counsel of your attorney. Yes, Mr. Irvin?
Mr. Irvin, I strongly recommend that you exercise your right to remain silent. If you have any questions, you could call the main line to our office, and an attorney will be able to answer your procedural bond questions. But this is not a trial. There is nothing you can do at this point to dispute the case. So I recommend that you stay quiet.
I do respect you guys. I just have one question because I am very confused. It says criminal trespassing, and I don't understand where criminal trespassing comes from. If that is the place that I reside, so that is what I'm very confused on. I'm very confused by trespassing. If I reside there, I have proof that I pay rent, and she said that we reside together. So I'm just confused where trespassing comes in.
Is the criminal trespass, according to the accusation, it was knowingly and maliciously interfere with the possession or use of property of Jasiana Alacron without consent, to wit, her cell phone.
Judge, what level is the signature bond?
The signature bond portion is through pretrial level 3. He'll report once a week. He'll be required to enroll in the DBIP program within 30 days and be subject to random screens. Mr. Irvin, please remember to update the court with your new residential address within 30 days of being released, because otherwise your next court date presently is May 22nd.
Two, Hot,
I'm sorry, repeat, Deputy?
add on position number 2, Mr. Hot.
Okay. Christopher Pierre Hodge. His case number is 25 CR 2432J. This is position 2 on our add-on calendar. Mr. Hodge has been accused of 3 misdemeanor offenses stemming from May 7th, 2025. And the charges are disorderly conduct, public drunk, and criminal trespass. Mr. Hodge, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Chate. Any prize, Mr. Howard, if you have it?
15. On probation, possession of a Schedule 1, Carroll County. What else? Got an open DUI, possession of marijuana, Carroll County. Trespass, Carroll County. Open case out of New York City for intent to obtain transportation without paying. Criminal mischief. Reckless damage to property. Booking says resident of Miami. 2023 FTA. 2 of them.
2 FTAs in 2023?
Correct.
Thank you. Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. The state is asking for a $2,000 surety bond for disorderly conduct, $500 surety bond for public drunk, and $500 surety bond for the criminal trespass. On the offense date for this particular crime is May 7th, 2025, and it occurred at the Longhorn at 3480 Camp Creek Parkway. That's East Point. An officer arrived at the scene and met with the victim, Nasir Kareem. I'll spell that for you. That's N as in Nancy, ASIR, Kareem, KAREEM. And he was the manager at the Longhorn at the time. The victim advised that the defendant was terminated a year ago from the Longhorn, stated that when he entered the Longhorn, he threatened 2 patrons there at the establishment. Now, the patrons weren't on the scene when the officer arrived, but the victim stated that the defendant approached him in the restricted kitchen area of the restaurant and advised that he was going to kill all the managers at this location. When officers approached the defendant, he couldn't communicate properly because of alcohol and slurred speech. Now, the state's concern here is that even after a year after he was terminated from the Longhorn, the defendant still came back and threatened to kill the managers and threatened patrons. So the state is asking for no further contact with the victim, Nasir Kareem, to stay away from the Longhorn at 3480 Camp Creek Parkway, and no alcohol, drug, or weapons while out on bond.
Mr. McLean?
This is my case, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Schiffer. Sorry about that.
No worries. Your Honor, my client is 33 years old. My understanding is he struggles with housing, but he does have a place where he can get mail, and he will keep the court updated on that. And I did ask for a social worker to see him to help with housing. He's lived in Atlanta for the past 1.5 years. He's a high school graduate, and he's currently a supervisor at an office goods store. He's been doing that since December, January, but prior to that, he worked as a cook. So he does have stable employment. Given his ties to the community so far and his employment background, Your Honor, I would ask the court to consider the possibility of a signature bond, but if the court's not willing, then a surety bond within the $1,000 to $2,000 range.
Okay, I'm sorry, where is he working?
An office goods store, I believe it's a Staples.
Staples?
Yes.
Which branch, which location?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, on the disorderly conduct, that will be a $2,500 surety. On the public drunk is $1,000 signature bond through the jail, and on the criminal trespass is $1,000 signature bond through the jail. This is a total of a $4,500 split bond. Next court date is May 22nd. To stay 200 yards away from the Longhorn Restaurant at 3480 Camp Creek Parkway, and to have no contact with Nasir Kareem. Next court date is going to be May 22nd. Please remember, no illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. Thank you.
Adam 3, Mr. Toots.
This is number 3 on the calendar, Daughters Jacques Toots, case number 25 CR 2433C. Mr. Toots, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. McLean. The prosecution has filed 3 separate charges in your new accusation: loitering and prowling, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
16 on probation, ag assault, simple assault, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. DeKalb County. Got an open shoplifting, 24 PR 006750. Open possession of drug-related objects, trespass, possession of a Schedule 1, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission. That's out of Doraville, DeKalb County. 2025 probation, 2024 FTA, 2024 shoplifting simple battery conviction, 2016 FTA. Oh, that shoplifting, that's open as pretrial.
How much? Do you know the bond?
It's a UJR, so.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Howard, you said that was a PI case? That's a Superior Court case?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, this is an incident from the 8th of May. Between 1:30 a.m. and 4:30 a.m., multiple calls were made to Georgia Tech Police about an individual with the description that fit the defendant's. First calls were about him refusing to leave the Hampton Inn there on campus. Another call about him looking into vehicles there at the location, which is about 120 North Avenue. Another call regarding the defendant in and around the dining hall there on North, behind the building, and then walking through the building and into the courtyard. Officers made contact with him. Initially, he fled on foot. Eventually, they made contact with him after a little bit, and again, confirmed who he was, that he was the individual multiple peoples were calling about. He was given some verbal commands, and he repeatedly refused to follow the commands of officers. He actually was uncooperative and physically resisted putting his hands in cuffs. He was identified, and when he was searched incident to arrest, he had a small amount of marijuana in his book bag. So loitering is based on the time of day and being in and around an area in a suspicious manner with no reason to be there, no business to be there. Obstruction honestly could have been multiple charges, but here we are. Based on the pretty severe history and open cases that include just on February the 14th, 2025, an drug objects arrest in DeKalb, probation violation just in February 2025 for that aggravated assault conviction from 2021 that he initially got first offender on. And the open cases you just heard about from pretrial, we're asking for a $3,000 surety to stay away from all Georgia Tech property, but specifically the area at 120 North Avenue. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. And we'd request a social worker visit, Your Honor, to see if a BHET or a ADET is appropriate. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Honor. Mr. Tukes is local. He is Georgian. I was able to reach his family at a 404 number, and they're supportive of him and wanted to know what his bond was. They couldn't join us, but they wanted to know what his bond was right after. Your Honor, he is a part-time student now in information technology, and in the past, he is also, at the age of 31, he has worked as a driver at a distribution center, and now he's a part-time student studying information technology. So we would ask the court to consider a signature bond, but if that is not possible, then, Your Honor, we'd ask for a $1,000 surety. Thank you.
Mr. Tukes, you do realize that as a result of your new arrest, there's a possibility that your bond could be revoked in your open felony case for theft by shoplifting. But in the meantime, for this particular case, on the loitering and prowling, there's going to be a $1,500 surety. The obstruction of a law enforcement officer is going to be a $500 surety. And the misdemeanor marijuana is going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail. Your total bond is a $2,000 split bond. Your next court date is May 22nd. You're required to stay away from all Georgia Tech property, which is quite extensive. So you need to make sure you stay away from the whatever the midtown downtown area is that involves Georgia Tech property. And also you're to stay away from the Hampton Inn at 120 North Avenue. This means you're required to stay 200 yards away from that location. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons, and no firearms. Marijuana is still considered legal in Georgia, so please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Position number 9, Mr. Smith, is a waiver.
All right. What about position number 3, Patel?
Your Honor, I was supposed to interview Patel today. My understanding is that he's a frequent flyer here. He's been placed on the competency calendar numerous times in the past. So, and I spoke with him very briefly today, and I think he might need to be placed on the competency calendar again.
Okay, reset to May 15th at 11 a.m. And that would be the competency calendar. And you're waiving his first appearance, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. On the criminal trespass, his bond is going to be set at $1,500, and that's a surety bond. What's the stay away location, Miss Allen, for Hiran Patel?
I can provide a judge. It's stay away from the Barnes & Noble at 2900 Peachtree Road in Atlanta.
Right. Stay away from Barnes & Noble at 2900 West Peachtree. Was it 20 Peachtree?
Just Peachtree Road, Judge.
Just Peachtree Road, okay. Okay, and then what about Shaka Patterson? Position,
Reset behavior.
right, this will be reset to Saturday, May 10th. This is not a Riverside issue. Oh dear, 6 and 7. Deputy Challenge,
He's still at Grady. No, reset.
reset Grady, position 6 and 7, reset to May 10th. All right, that brings us to Marcus Smith, accused of theft by shoplifting on May 8th, 2025, case number 25CR 2426C. Counsel for Ms. Marcus Smith is Mr. Chate or Mr. McLean.
It'll be me.
All right, sir. And you've submitted the waiver of presence for Mr. Smith?
Not in writing yet, Your Honor, but he would like to waive his presence.
All right.
He has a matter going on in court and asks simply to I don't have an address for him, so he and I discussed how to make sure you don't miss court even when you don't have an address. And we discussed mail drops and the possibility of adding that to his repertoire in the future. He asked the court simply to set an appropriate bond for the charge. That simply his request.
Understood. Please submit your waiver of presence to Ms. Chanel Young, Chanel with an SH, okay? Thank you.
SHI.
SHANELL Young, common spelling, at fultoncountyga.gov.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Howard, how many priors on Mr. Marcus Smith, if any?
40. He got 2 FTAs from last year.
All right, thank you. Mr. Scirocco, any objection to a $1,500 surety bond?
No, Judge, I think that's appropriate. There's a number of theft by shoplifting prior convictions. I counted 7 at least. And it appears he's wanted out of Florida, at least when we ran his history today. And just as well, I see an FTA from 2024. Surety seems appropriate. We would not take issue if that were higher, given the numerosity of the previous convictions here. We are seeking a felony transfer for this case. And we would ask for the stay away from Home Depot at 2525 Piedmont Road, Northeast Atlanta, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Granted. Okay, so it'll be a $1,500 surety bond. Stay away from the Home Depot at 2525 Piedmont Road in Atlanta, and all Home Depot stores in Fulton County, Georgia. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. His next court date is May 22nd. I think that takes care of all the cases we have. Just to address the add-on cases on Irvin, that was a $6,000 split bond, including a $2,000 cash bond for count 1. For position 2 on Hodge, that was a $4,500 split bond. All these cases are reset to May 22nd. And then for Tukes, that's going to be a $2,000 split bond, reset May 22nd. For the main C calendar, Epps is going to be a $5,000 surety bond, reset May 22nd. 2, Mystic Moore is a $2,000 signature bond for pretrial, level 1. Position 3, Patel, is reset to May 15th with a $1,500 surety bond, and that's reset to the 11 a.m. competency calendar. Shaka Patterson is going to be a behavior reset to Saturday, May 10th. Position 5, Jacques Shelby, is a $2,500 cash bond only, reset to May 22nd. Position 6 and 7, Shalenji, is a Grady reset to May 10th. Position 8, Damian Smith, is going to be a $2,500 surety bond, reset to May 22nd. Position 10, Williamson, is going to be a $1,500 surety bond, reset to, a $5,500 split bond, reset to May 22nd. Position 11, Wilson, is a $4,000 split bond, reset to May 22nd. That's with pretrial level 1. Zachary is going to be a $4,000 signature bond to pretrial level 2. I think that concludes the calendar.
Go back to number 9.
Number 9.
Marcus Smith.
Did I miss Marcus Smith? Oh, I did. Sorry about that. That's going to be a $1,500 surety bond, reset May 22nd.
Okay.
All right, folks, any questions? No? Okay, well, enjoy the rest of your Friday. If you won the lucky ticket, you get to see me tomorrow on a Saturday at 2. So all the best.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, yes, that too. Thank you. Bye-bye.